Good morning. Commuting in the car had gotten fairly difficult with the sun, and I was thinking that wasn't going to work for a while, but it might turn out all right because we're back onto daylight savings time, and so it's not nearly as glaring and blinding. In fact, it's pretty dark when I leave for work in the morning. Here I'm halfway there, been on the road for 40 minutes, 30-40 minutes, and it's just getting light enough to use the camera at all, so maybe it will work. Commuting is a fairly common experience for Americans these days, and especially in California. I guess we commute probably as much or more than most places in the country. I have a little bit longer commute than others, and that's a long story. I wish I had less of a commute. I don't feel good about it environmentally. I don't like the time it takes up, but it's just the way things have worked out. I hope to reduce it in the future, but for now I do about an hour and a half both ways, so that adds up. So for me, a car that could drive itself would really be a dream come true. You know, spending 3 hours being able to read or write or sleep or doing any of those kind of things that would be more productive than just piloting a car. And I realize it'll be quite a while before any of those kind of things are possible, that even when we get driverless cars, so to speak, you're still going to need to monitor the system or do some kind of taking care of the controls that you won't be able to sleep probably for quite a while. I will say I do still like to drive, probably not as much as I did when I first got my license. But I was kind of depressed last week when I realized that America will likely be one of the last countries that gets to adopt driverless cars, simply because we are so stubbornly independent. I realized this in a discussion or debate or argument with some of my students about the concept, and I realized no, they do not see the appeal in driverless cars. Many of them, not all, but many of them do not see any appeal in driverless cars at all. They want to be in control, and they are completely irrational when it comes to looking at the idea that machines might be able to do this as well or better than the people driving the cars now, which is something that's going to be a real problem in America. If we have 1,000 accidents per million miles driven now, and I'm just pulling that number out of my head, or someplace, if driverless cars could reduce that to 100 accidents per million miles driven, Americans won't want to accept that 100 accidents. No, we would rather have 1,000 that we feel like we're in control of and that we're responsible for, rather than only 100. We've accepted the notion that human beings cause accidents, and so we live with that when we're lucky. So I think we'll be reluctant. We'll be slow. We'll see other countries adopting driverless cars. How that will affect and influence the eventual adoption of driverless cars in the United States, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm just afraid now that we'll have to wait longer rather than less time before we get to see it. Which means I've got to just get used to piloting this car for as long as it takes me to get to work, and for the time being, for the foreseeable future. How about you? What do you think? Would you give up driving and accept a driverless car? I mean, I would gladly accept all other systems of mass transit, public transit, if there were any practical ones that serviced my commute between Crestline and Palm Springs, but I'm not aware of anything that's even close. So what about you? Do you use public transit, mass transit? Would you accept a driverless car rather than taking your own car? So let me know down in the comments how you feel about driverless cars and whether you'd adopt one. Adopt. Sounds like it's a child, eh? Till the next time I talk to you, don't forget to be awesome, and I will talk to you again soon, hopefully.